Good day, everyone. My name is Davani Apolonio, and I am your host for today. Today, my guest here is Mr. Chris Lubin. We're here to talk about mental health awareness. So, Mr. Chris, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Christopher Lubin. I'm the pastor here at the Friends Boys School, Community Church Center, and I'm here as your guest.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chris. So, to go more in depth about exactly what we're here to talk about, health issues, including mental health, sexual health, and access to healthcare services, are important for youth development. Promoting awareness about these topics, reducing stigma, and providing information on available resources that can support the overall well being of young people in the community. So, with that, Mr. Chris, the first question: what is mental health and why is it important for everyone to understand?
There's other way, there's different means and ways how we go about that. Recognizing the symptoms or the signs, being aware of adults, kids who are suffering from the illness, and knowing that it's not an illness that cannot be cured. There's a cure. There's ways and means to manage today in our society. It's not a death sentence or anybody who is suffering from this type of illness where we just stigmatize them, as in the old days where it used to be a big embarrassment or a shame. Families would hear somebody suffering some type of illness. It was caused so much embarrassment or shame that they would try to hide or lock the individual up in the house when visitors or guests arrive. Where's Sarah? Sarah is in the room, and they wouldn't come out until the guests leave. And the stigma was so bad back then that even in our society was, if somebody is displaying these irrational behavior against one norm, if medication didn't work, they would normally put them away in certain institutions. And you might see them after a 90-day stint when they calm them down using variety of medication or other stuff that we use in a time. But the bottom line is we don't have to go through that no more. There's other ways and means where people suffering from mental illness can receive help, and they are receiving help. It's not about locking them up away from society no more, because the embarrassment to maybe the community, your family, and these behaviors could be real destructive at times, very destructive to the individual and also to other members in our community.
All right. So, what are some myths about mental health that young people should know?
One of the biggest myths, I think, is let me see, go back to, there's no cure. Once you're gone, you're gone. But today, with the help of medication, with the help of spiritual help, with the help of awareness of symptoms and how doctors, nurses, or spiritual folks could help and assist in, first of all, recognizing the symptoms and seeking whatever help they might need. We have professionals today that can help. Another myth is results of personality weakness. Some people, it's a social status, and that's a myth, because this illness hit rich and the poor. It's not a character flaws. It's another myth. And so yeah.
There's much more myths here
yes.
about mental health. Counseling would be only for the crazy people or stuff like that. And so like it's very stereotypic
Oh yes,
to be like, oh, she depressed and that's why she do this and that's why she do that. But these um mental health issues are not permanent. It won't stay forever. You could manage it, you could reduce it, you could learn how to, okay, what are my triggers, how, you know what to avoid, what to look out for. And so with that, how can young people recognize signs of mental health issues in themselves or their friends?
and that's a good question. Young people, talking about a young kid or a young adult,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking about it, we're just happy. We're going about doing our business. You're living life. How can a kid know that means something is wrong if he's not being educated?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing, you have to be educated, and hopefully that schools, educational, the government, or somebody get involved in providing this education to first let and teach in the young kids what are the signs, what make one just withdraw from his usual normal program of one day, man, I just don't want to go out with my friends, I don't want to play, and then we recognize that wait, something is wrong over here. What caused it? And the causing factor could be a many. It's not one factor. It could be from stemming from maybe a parent. So like parents, what I mean, like mom, dad is not there no more, and then I might withdraw. It could be deeper where like I don't feel accepted by my peers no more. I feel left out. And as I was explaining to you earlier just now about the different season and changes in weather. For me as a young kid, I remember I had that issue. Even in my mature days, where coming from a beautiful Belize with a lot of sun. And if you notice during the summertime, you're active, you're running about, and then winter comes along, there's a change in the weather where we start to display certain behavior. And it took me a long to understand what the meaning for that, where season could be big effect on our behavior and how we communicate with others too. For me, I had to learn that, and I still went through it. Where certain times where it's rain, it's cold, I can't do what I want to do or what I normally do. I have to be shut in, locked in. I can't burn that extra energy I had on a regular basis. The summer, the light, oh man, I could do that. I could get out there and exert all my energy, my power, and whatnot. But then comes this dark cloud coming over in the changing the weather or the season. Even when we travel, sometime too.
Mm-hmm.
When we travel, you go to a cold country, and you say, man, eh, you're missing that bright sunlight, that energy that we normally get naturally from the sun. So that's a good one you want to look up to, a seasonal affectional disorder, where season, climate or our yearly calendar could affect our behavior too.
Nice. And then to add on to that, Mr. Chris, like, as a young person myself, there are many signs that I've observed in my peers.
Mm.
So, like, when they're being overwhelmed, they would, like, tend to be more fidgety and, be unorganized. And you could see, like, if she would be like so organized on top of everything, and then
Mm.
you notice like, oh, she's not on time for class, she's not getting the work done here and there, and then like, you start to question like, what exactly is happening, this is not her.
Mm.
And then you go and ask, because the thing is, people tend to just observe that, okay, something is not okay, but we're not going to ask, we don't
Mhm.
want to get involved. Another thing that would occur in a high school, um you know, bullying. You could see like when someone is getting bullied because the environment changes. If it's in a classroom and there is like, you know, a group of people who like tend to gossip a lot or bring down or criticize, you could tell who those people are just from the way how they talk. But it's not being judgmental and be like, oh, if you talk that way, I know you're judgmental. But in the surrounding and comparing, the energy in the class, you could tell who to be distant from. But bullying isn't a thing that should be accepted, because it also affects our mental health. And so with that, you know, health issues like, if you're not keeping up physically, how are you actually like feeding your body the right stuff? Not eating right, and then you're being sad, you stress eat, and it's only junk food. It's only stuff that's unhealthy, bad beverages, So all that affects us, because our brain is the head, the powerhouse. And so if we're not feeding our body the right stuff, we won't be getting the right signals. And that we get the issues, the mental health issues, the depression, If you're not getting enough of something and it's lacking, you see it physically and mentally. And, healthcare tend to, help these people a lot, like the polyclinics here in Southside. Like, it's a very good clinic where they assist to their fullest. And so with that, we need to, as people sharing with young people, we need to tell them, these are some stuff you should avoid. Like, get active, go outside, enjoy the sun. Like you said, like, that energy from the sun, get that vitamin D, the A, everything, because, it goes back. It goes back and you get it out. And so reducing the stigma of saying that counseling is only for crazy people, that's something that should be stopped, because talking to someone is never wrong. Because everyone has emotions and we're all human. And I feel like, both sides should be expressing themselves, and not only females, because the stereotype, would be, oh, men don't cry, they can't talk their feelings, they can't do this, they can't do that, and vice versa. And so that's where we need to reduce the stigma of saying, go talk to somebody, go tell me. All you need sometimes is someone to listen and not even advice. All you need sometimes is a hug, right? And so that's where like people assume if you had a bad past, they assume you're a bad person. But no one wants to take the time to sit down and say, hey, Mr. Chris, I only know your name. Like, where are you from? Who are you? And and getting to know that person and understand, okay, that's his past, but this is who he is now. He used that to come up and somewhat so forth. So that's something that young people need to see in action. Not saying, oh, yes, he may shoot the dog, and I see he on news and he get charged this and charged that. I never met my picnic around that kind of area. That's the stereotype we have here in Southside, where, this would be the area where, oh, if you slow down a car too much, they come and they bust your window, they bust your tire, they take your money, they rob you. That's not Southside anymore. Southside is coming up. And so I would want you to share, like, what are some simple ways to take care of your mental health every day? What are some things that you do?
Okay. Thank you. Now I understand why when I'm in certain areas, the cars are just speeding by. I really don't understand you made that plane. I was like, why this individual going 60 miles an hour in a 15 miles zone? Okay, I understand that part. Okay. The first thing I think is education. We have to implement more education in the school system about our nutrition. You said earlier, self-love, we learn how to take care of our body. I think our society have take responsibility for all the the nutritious, the sweets and the salts and all the different stuff we pour into
Our bodies and promoting it as a good
in,
thing when
in, the,
it's
in the
not.
education system in the school. If we see kids coming and loading them up with sugar,
Being
loading up with
obese,
salt,
being
and
obese
then
at
we
a
want
young
we want the kids
age.
to be calm in classroom, and you give them this hyperactive food that just keep they have their head buzzing. So I think, and you want to know why Johnny can't sit in the seat still. But thank you. So now, I believe education. Put more books in the school dealing with nutrition and the benefits of certain type of food, the good and the bad, and promote even in the snack shop, man. Start there. You can't put the books out there and the kids reading the books, but then in the canteen or the snack shop, all we have is the junk stuff. So we can't put money first before the health of the kids and expect something good gonna come out of that. So bottom line is, I think the nutritional value, how we take care of ourselves, start from the parents too. Parents should get involved, and for healthy minds, healthy body, to see that when certain food is not good for us, will not benefit us in the long run. So education, put more books, have a class that is dedicated to maybe nutritious. And how was another one is to, I think a little reward system would be good for teaching kids or young adults, or even how to read the ingredients, what you're putting in your body. We need to teach them, and these are the benefits. This is what you're putting in your body. Because it has to be a generational change. Otherwise, we're going to keep on going that path where we reach a certain age and we live, all of our little earnings or savings go straight to the medical field. All right. So education, more benefits of health in the school system. We're teaching them about exercise, promote more healthy, not only physical but spiritual, with the nutrition. Counseling goes a long way in helping to provide and make a healthy society, especially with the next generation coming up. That the only thing they know, man, is a bag of chips when they come here. Some of the kids got about
True.
3, 4, 5 chips, and we're supposed to just had breakfast. So what is this? We walk, first thing our snack is about 6 chips, and that's not putting down nobody, but that's the reality of it. Nowadays maybe the cut a brute or a tableta, but still no, I think is when way beyond. Teach them a benefit about getting an 8 hours sleep. Our body body need rest. About reading, we spoke on yesterday about reading. Everybody have gotten away from reading. There's benefits in reading and educating oneself in books, and good books too, positive books, spiritual books as well. I keep a ritual about going to sleep early at night. That's the first thing. I need my 8 hours. And if you see me, they act crazy because I don't get my 8 hours.
So that's the whole.
All right. For my exercise, I try to reach the gym. I try to walk these steps up instead of driving a lot. Eating properly. So sorry I missed that. Eating properly, sleeping, and staying away from antisocial behaviors like, at this especially young age, drinking, illegal substance. That's another way for me to just stay on a ritual of purifying, keeping my body pure for me. And just avoiding that negative environment where nothing good could come out of it. I know it's tough because young peers, they want to they feel like they're accepted. So I'm hoping that got it.
All right. So thank you for your intake, Mr. Chris. Right. For me, I would say some simple ways to take care of my mental health every day is like, giving words of affirmation, telling myself that, I am worthy and I am powerful, I am very beautiful, going about my day, waking up with a smile, So my routine would be waking up. I have this wall full of achievements. So, waking up to see the things that I have already done, and I encourage myself that this is not the only thing that I have done. I have so much more. And I'm always going next. I get one done next. Because honestly, I like to explore and see my name on a certificate because that's the person who I am.
Mhm.
And I help young people like myself because I know what it is sometimes that you want to know something and everyone want to shut you out, and that really bring down your mental health. And honestly, that makes you want to be closed off, nonchalant, antisocial. And so that's where I tend to relate to young people, show them, I might feel that way occasionally, but that's not me 24/7. I have my off days. We're like, okay, we just observe everything today, still respond, but we're not as energetic as we are, not as involved. But you give the response that people are looking for, not with disrespect, but like just with that tone of, today is not a bright day. Or if it's you're around people who know you, you don't really have to say anything at all.
Mhm.
They read your body language and they say, okay, today, not too much talking, not too much this. And they completely understand. They don't feel intimidated or hurt. They're like, oh, she doesn't want to talk to me. Or did I do something wrong? Or they question themselves. People assume that they're always a problem. But sometimes, there's a lot of things you've been through, and sometimes it comes right back and it brings you into that SAD, right? Sometimes it be the weather, sometimes it's just be an awkward silence and you remember something and you just go out.
Okay.
So, my very last question,
Mhm.
where can young people go for help if they or someone they know is struggling with mental health?
Thankful I think in my time I didn't have it was so tough seeking that type of help. But today I think there's so much. The school, you mentioned it earlier about the pair in different school. The pair, they have what
Peer
call it?
helpers.
Peer helpers.
That was one.
All right, that's beautiful. And you have the principal, maybe a teacher, a counselor on this on the campus, a big brother, a big sister, some special number they could call, and that come with developing a good relationship. Developing a good relationship we could confide in an elder or somebody close. So I would say a counselor is the first stop in the school. You mentioned earlier about writing in a journal. Speak to your doctor.
Well, Mr. Chris, thank you for coming in today with me and talking about mental health awareness as a man as well.
Amen.
Getting your perspective is, highly respected and appreciated because you're open to share your part and, So I'd like to say thank you one more time
Thank you.
and until next time, guys. Bye.
Thank you for inviting me.